Hello, everybody, for the most serious episode of the Foreplay podcast yet.
Thanks.
God, I feel like I might have turned some people away. No, we're just going to have some serious conversation today.
All right.
My name's Brandon. I'm with Mike over here in his Breaking Bad shirt.
Hi.
Nick the Nipples Nesser. And Kevin Black Matthews. He's wearing a black shirt. Get it?
Wow.
Sure.
Nice.
Oh, I want Nick the Nipples Nesser to stick after the
Nick the
his
Nipples.
shower explanation. Where you cover half your nipple. Do I need to remind yourself?
To stick. I understand what you meant now. Okay.
That was not supposed to be a pun. Was there a pun in there?
No, I just didn't know what you meant.
Oh.
I now know that you meant the name. You wanted the name to stick.
Nick, what's the Foreplay podcast?
It's four longtime friends born and raised in the 90s that get into
Born and
youthful
raised.
hijinks together.
Yeah. Well, what it is, too, is that on Monday... I like that. On Mondays at youtube.com/4playvideo, we give a little tease for this week's topics. My tease already was serious. And I will tell a little bit more because not everyone here at the table knows all my topics.
Nope.
It's about fresh spring water or purified water.
Dasani water.
It's about
Dasani.
Deepwater Horizon.
Dasani is
That's a movie.
purified.
Dasani is great water. It's the best water.
No, it's not.
It's purified tap water.
Yeah, because if it sits out in the sun for like a little bit too long, it tastes like shat.
Yeah, but cold
Well, any
Dasani
of these
water
aren't
is
supposed
delicious.
to sit in the
Well,
sun.
I know that, but for some reason, Dasani
It's
in
really
general,
bad.
just like you can actually like taste it.
Do you taste water? Water doesn't taste.
Yes, water has different
Yeah,
tastes,
dude.
100%.
You ever taste like tap water from like
Yes.
the city?
Yeah, but is that taste or is that just bad?
No, it tastes.
It's,
Like,
yeah,
even Poland
but-
Spring and Deer Park are going to taste different. Even Poland Spring and this water are going to taste different.
I think it's all made up in our
I
head.
think
It's
when
not
they're-
made up
I
in
think
your
when
head.
they're all ice cold, there's no difference to me. When they're all ice cold, it tastes the same. But it's the same thing with beer. Like you don't taste beer as much when it's like ice cold. But if they're like all room temperature, you'll taste the difference a lot better.
Are you one of those squares that likes room temperature water?
I do.
I do.
You
'Cause
guys
can suck
do?
it down fast.
Oh my god!
I'm just used to it, but I'd rather have
Nothing better than a cold bottle of water.
yeah.
It's good.
I hate warm water. I just actually despise
Not warm
it.
water. Not
Oh,
warm water.
Yeah, but just normal room temperature.
It's fine.
Know what's wrong with it?
Goes
I
down
drink
quick.
it every day, but
You can chug a warm
I'll
water.
drink it, but it's just not what I prefer. Tuesdays we do talk time topics, whatever we want to talk about. Wednesdays are for Would You Rather. Thursdays we do you know questions that we sometimes talk about. Should you know? Sometimes it's like a talk time. It's whatever we want to do. Friday the
It's our fucking show.
That's fucking right. God damn it. Amen.
It's a great point.
Tell them.
Fridays, the whole episode goes up on YouTube in video form, and then on audio, you could subscribe to it on iTunes, Google Play Music. That's it. Saturday, we play video games, and as of recording, we have all new video intros that aren't very long. Woo. Yay.
And Sundays we party.
You don't party, Nick.
I don't do anything.
So,
Right.
my additional tease, I said it was going to get serious. So, for talk time, I'm going to talk about Christ or other forms.
Christ.
Christ.
Rice.
And rice. Oh, well, actually, maybe not rice. Would you rather is going to involve living, and then do you know is going to involve evil, like Dr. Evil.
is
Or like-
What is that from?
SpongeBob.
And so is
Mermaid Man.
every villain is lemons.
And on that note, we'll get into our serious talk time conversation. I said Christ. And the four. That's so funny.
Because of what he just did right
The
before
little news if that'll come in. Nick's little spasm there.
Great.
But yeah, I said Christ because I want to talk about religion.
What about Muhammad?
That's religion, religious, or it's also a name.
It's one of
Yes.
the
But-
most common
it's both.
names. Read a fucking book.
Super bad shout out. But we definitely all have a little bit of a different religious background, definitely different beliefs now. So I want to go around and talk about some of ours and talk about some of the issues, I guess you could say. I don't want to say problems because that sounds bad because there's not problems for some people. But I almost feel like, Nick, you should start off as the most religious of
the
us all.
resident religious
Yeah,
person.
Resident
the
pastor
resident
and scientist.
and religious person. That makes no sense.
It really
It's almost
doesn't.
contradictory, but not really. But that's the part of the problem too.
Yes.
That shouldn't be
Yeah,
contradictory.
why is it?
Why do we have this stigma that religion is contradictory to
Because of the
science? Not necessarily. In Catholicism, for instance, it is accepted that the Big Bang is possible. Like, it's not just outright rejected. You know, it's just
Right,
a
but it didn't
different
start
avenue.
out as that, did it? I mean,
You know,
that
it was the
eventually
creationism
changed.
debate.
I can't fully conclusively say I'm not a religious authoritative
No,
figure.
the debate
Definitely.
is creationism versus evolution. Like everyone.
No, it's not creationism versus evolution. No one disputes. Well, there are people that dispute, but those aren't the doctrine of the church. If I'm correct, don't quote me on this, but the last time I checked, I'm pretty sure that evolution is accepted as well as creationism. Like, just because evolution exists doesn't dispute creationism. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
forget,
the first life
I
could
don't
have
know which
existed.
specific church, but I watched the whole
Well,
Ken Ham versus Bill Nye debate, which was all
That
about
was a
Ken
mess.
Ham. Yeah,
Everyone
which
regards.
I think everyone should go watch that. but
No, it's completely. It's a waste of time because
they spin in circles the whole time.
not only are
but
they spinning circles, but honestly, Ken Ham's argument was not that good.
no, it wasn't.
honestly.
he didn't. Really
And
have an
again,
argument.
like, you know, I am
Coming from,
who I
yeah.
am. Like, it wasn't a good argument. There were much better arguments to make.
But
But
before we get full, so what is
Yes,
your background?
so I was born and raised Catholic. You know, I attended church group, all that stuff. You know, I met my lovely girlfriend there. We're still together 3 years plus strong. And I definitely believe in God, no doubt there. But as I've grown, I've started to, I don't want to say take a more agnostic approach, but take a more agnostic approach in the sense that there are a lot of problems with organized religion, and not because the religion itself, more so the people and the way that they interpret what the religion is supposed to stand for. In other words, like when Catholicism originated, the people practicing were way different than the people today, and their intentions may have or may have not been more different. Like, you know, maybe we've improved in some aspects, descended in some aspects.
I don't mean to laugh because I raise my hand, but usually every time I raise my hand, it's for something really fucking stupid out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Are you talking about when you say like different people interpret it different? Are you talking about like mass people or like the extremists? That we see?
Both.
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 Okay.
I mean, extremism is going to exist in every group of people. Extremism exists in atheism as well, and that's
Yeah.
not even a religion. You know, there's going to be extreme people in all
I
walks
understand
of
because
life.
that's the hot topics, like the radical extremists and all sorts of groups.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you're talking about just them specifically or
no,
a
I'm
little
talking
bit of
about both.
Yeah.
I'm talking about both because a lot of people I know as well. A lot of it, they're like, yeah, you know, like let's take morality. Let's jump into morality, for instance. They'll be like, you know, I guess I'm not supposed to do this, but it's fun, so I'm going to do it anyway. But they're like they're going against the morality that they have in their own head and just trying to justify it with their own actions. Versus, like, I believe everyone that has a faith, I do believe everyone should go and question that faith. You should, if you're a Catholic, you should read the New Testament. You should read the Old Testament. You should understand what your religion is about, what the foundations are.
Do you think it's important if they're going to, if even if they're not like going to preach about it, or like that's not like a big fact of their like outward life, if that makes sense to you? Like,
Well,
what if they're just like, and I don't want to say like closet religious, but they're religious in their own way, but they're
that's fine, too.
Catholicism. Do
That's-
you think it's still important for them to read?
It depends on what you want out of it, honestly. Like,
Because I view that as being informed to be able to like argue for one sake or the other. You're saying to read the Old Testament so that you're able to speak about it.
not necessarily speak about it, but understand, like, I even like reading this information, I'm informed that I still accept this. Why is this line in here? Like, for instance, let's say there was a line about, you know, hating a certain group of people, right? Why is this the case? Why is this being interpreted the case? Because maybe that's not the actual intended interpretation. You know, you got to keep in mind, like, a lot of the original verses and everything that originated as religion was word of mouth and wasn't immediately translated in English. So I believe that, I like to believe, at least, you know, of course, like, I have no proof in any way, that no one has any proof in any way. I like to believe that the original creation of certain religions was perfect, if that makes sense. Like, for
Right,
instance,
but there was always slavery.
no, I'm not going there. Like, allow me to finish what I'm trying to say. What may have been originally created and intended as the Bible, through multiple translations across the entirety of human history, like, you got to, you know,
The game of telephone.
It's a giant
Yeah.
game of telephone where a lot of the meaning has been lost, I believe. Because if you take a step back and you say you believe in God again, and you believe in an omnipotent and loving God, and you read things, and you also believe that we were made in His image, right? Like we were made in God's image in theory, and He's also all loving. So if there's something that we see that's like, I can't see in what area that could be morally right, I like to believe that might have been a mistranslation. I like to believe that, that's not indicative of what Catholicism should be, and that could have been a remnant of people, writing the Bible and whatnot. And so I look at it like that. I like to believe in a very, I want to say, intention-based morality, like taking a step back, looking at all those things. Why would that have been the sentiment at that time? Why is it not relevant now? Why was it probably not relevant at all? All that stuff. But the big thing is you should question your faith if you wish to do that, of course. I know I'm rambling a lot, so let me bring it back together to just say, if you blindly follow anything and you're going to start preaching about it and start doing anything about it, that's not really, I would argue that's not really morally right. If I don't read anything about Catholicism and I tell you Catholicism's the right way to go.
I think that's a great life thing, because I don't like even on the show we don't necessarily do topics about politics because we don't all feel super informed on the conversation.
And we don't want to spread information.
Exactly. Like we want to feel comfortable with what we're talking about. Exactly. Yeah. Not spread misinformation. God, I forgot whatever you were just saying off that.
Yeah.
But I think it's almost like more important with the religion because of what it's supposed to stand for and everything.
What it's supposed to. You use that word supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think the meaning has been long lost, and that people really, again, are at fault, not God, if you believe in all loving and omnipotent God. And of course, there's no one to say how is my religion any more right than Judaism or Islam or flying spaghetti mountain. There's no way to say that. I believe what I believe. I respect everyone else's right to believe what they believe or not believe what they don't want to believe, and that's fine. The big thing is I don't believe there's any morally right area for any religion or non-religion where I'm saying you're believing that, you're wrong, you're stupid.
Which out of everyone, I don't like to give you a compliment ever in life, but I feel as though out of anyone who I consider very religious, I consider you, compared to other people, I feel like you've done it right. You're very religious, you do your certain things because of that, but you never impose on any other motherfucker's thoughts or ideas or tell them what they're supposed to do. And that's the shit that turned me off.
Of course. And again, that's
to religion.
People.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe I would have stuck with it. I'm not going to name my church, but I think we all us three went to the same church, I believe.
Yeah.
And, it's stupid, but it one of the first things that burned me really bad was, these money baskets. And we're just waving them in front of our faces each and every week. And I understand, obviously they have to make money, but I remember these people giving me nasty faces when I wouldn't put anything in it and shaking it in front of my face and shit. I was like, how is this focused on money? And I know it's a very small part, and maybe that's stupid for me to turn off, but then that was that was the foundation for me to start questioning everything.
Yeah.
And then that led to my own beliefs, which is I don't believe in a God.
Yeah.
I consider myself culturally Catholic because that's how I was raised and grew up, but I don't believe in a God. I believe in karma.
Yeah.
I believe in a higher power. I don't know what that is because I don't believe we just came from nothing or the Big Bang or whatever it is because we don't know yet. So I can't really say I believe in that idea.
But that's what I'm saying. You questioned it. You came to that resolution on your own. You're not just doing it because that's what you were taught. That's what you were told. Even me, I was taught and told this, but I still went on my own and said, is this what I choose to believe? Or is it what I've been told my whole life? And it still is what I choose to believe.
I believe faith's a powerful thing. And I think it's great for some people who believe in it.
Absolutely,
that's what they need and it works for them. And I don't care what you do as long as you're not imposing on me.
Exactly.
Or trying to tell me how to live my life. That's where I get burned with some of this stuff. And there are a lot of people that ruin that for other people.
I completely agree. And I know that exists in all aspects of life.
Yeah.
Even atheism. I can't go on Reddit and even go on it. Say there's an Ask Reddit thing that's why do you believe in God? All the comments are oh, I don't, he doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. And I'll try and have an insightful conversation oh, you're clearly an idiot because you believe in God, automatically. I'm well, that's toxic to that argument as well.
There's no argument.
There's bad people everywhere. Yeah, exactly. There's no argument. So I really tangented a lot.
Well, no, I'm going to go back on that, but
back.
Get these two, Kevin.
Yeah.
What are your beliefs first?
So, I was raised Catholic. and my parents still go to church every Sunday. That stuff. I haven't consistently gone to church in a long time, and there's really no
You go on
reason
holidays still,
for
or you
that.
just
Yeah, I
haven't
still
gone
go
to
on
your-
holidays. I don't know. I don't know where I stand with religion because I got so much other stuff sort of going on.
Yeah.
that, that's sort of almost one of the last things I think about. But I like to believe that there's something,
something,
but
but you're not sure if it's necessarily a god.
I don't know.
Because mine's kind of like a phony answer where it's like I say a higher power, but God is a higher power, right?
Yeah, but there's multiple.
Yeah,
like
there
there are
could be anything you can
Yeah, that's what
consider
I'm-
an
Yeah.
alien to
Yeah.
be your higher power.
there are
Yeah.
monotheistic religions. There are multi-theistic, I guess, for lack of a better term.
I don't know what words
You
you're
know?
saying there, but
You
Yeah, I
could
mean,
say bacon is your higher power.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm good.
flying
I'll call
spaghetti
you, I'll call you
monster.
stupid, but more power to you, I guess.
I'm in a bit of a weird state with religion because I mean, an all good, all powerful God that you speak of, then why are there infant children getting stricken with awful diseases?
Yeah.
Like there's stuff like that, but I mean, everything can't be all honky dory
Yeah.
all the time. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, that was one of the things that turned me off again as a kid, where it was like you start to hear about. At least
Stuff like
all
that.
I
Yeah,
heard is
yeah.
all about the good
Yep,
and the
yep.
great and what we could do going forward.
Yeah.
And you look around, it's like friends' parents died.
Yeah.
Like, how is that?
There's very
okay?
sad things, absolutely. And I don't have an answer for that. Like I'm not going to say God works in mysterious ways because that's a cop out answer.
That's
I
also
know
a
it's a
song.
cop out answer.
By you too.
At the end of the day, like it's hard to say how much involvement there is. Is he just like snow globe looking at us, seeing what happens, rolling the dice for
Or
each
is he just
person?
bowling when there's thunder.
Like I definitely don't have a good enough opinion on that anyway on myself because that's a very hard topic to say because I'm not also what am I going to say? Those people were born to do that. I can't say
Yeah.
that either.
Well, I have more questions for you, but I'm gonna ask Mike.
Of course, please. I'll do the best I can. I also want to preface that I do not stand for all Catholics, and I'm sure that some people may see this and be like, "Oh,
No.
this is blasphemic," whatever. I'm speaking for myself only. Just
15 Hail Marys and Latin.
just to have that. No, you know what? That's another great thing of my church, like at Rutgers, that I have to say. Like the priests weren't just cookie cutter, do this amount of prayers and do that.
They
like
touch little boys.
it was no. Like
Are
I
you
know
sure?
that's funny to make the joke, but
It's not
these
funny
are
'cause it
actually
happens
it
all the
does
time.
happen again.
Yeah.
But there are
It
pedophiles in
happened
every
the
group
church
of
that
people.
You guys went to.
It did,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But there are pedophiles in every group. There are pedophiles in the Catholic Church. There are pedophiles.
But the people closest to God.
Again,
shouldn't
they
be
shouldn't
happening.
be. But again, that all ties back to why it's the people, which is
Yeah.
what I originally said. So, but these guys were great. These priests were great. And when I did go to confession, they would often do things that I wouldn't have thought of, like like maybe pray for the craziness in the Middle East or something like that. This is not at all what they said, but
Yeah.
it would be unique. It wouldn't just be like do 10 Hail Marys, do an arbitrary number of prayers. Like keep this in your thought tonight. Do this,
Okay.
and I really appreciate that. It made me think about things that I didn't normally think about.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, back to you, because Rosa had a question for you, and I hijacked it.
Just questions in
So-
general
No,
to pose.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like all the like religious books and stuff were more meant to be like a story of morals than an actual like recording of events that actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
I know what
just
you're
feel
saying.
like they were just actually just really fucking well written stories.
Yeah,
That
isn't the Bible or whatever? Isn't it literally just years upon years, like just a collection of different stories that people years later found a way to sort of
I honestly
Come
have
together.
no idea,
Yeah.
but that's just how I interpret all.
Mhm.
Like I've never even read any of them, but I'm just saying like
Neither
that's
have
how I feel like they were meant to be. Like they're just stories, and they're meant to be like stories of morals.
Which I know
They-
that's what Nick not preaches, but that's what you like to talk about.
Mhm.
That people need to see that side of it more than
yeah,
this is what you
Taking
do, and you're
stuff
supposed to do so literally
Exactly.
from this book that was written
yeah.
2,000 ago, where the world
It's-
was 1,500
it's all
times different.
contextual.
So the fact
Yeah.
that if you're gonna follow the book, then why are you changing it? Like people change it today's world views and stuff, which is good because that'd be shitty if they practiced the stuff that they
Yeah.
did back then. But like, that still doesn't make sense. If
No.
you're gonna follow the religion. Don't change it. You
Yeah.
can't change it. That's
If-
not how it's.
For instance, you look at science. When we learn new things, the biology textbook's going to change, right?
Yeah.
Why would learning new social things, learning new
But
other things, not
Jesus
change
was
that?
alive back then, so he should have like everything back then should have been.
Concrete, you're saying?
But
Yeah,
again,
like-
you got to keep in mind, as I was saying as well in the beginning, what he may have originally put out there may have been perfect, and then through the game of telephone that we were talking about, that meaning could have been lost. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And again, as I said,
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. I can't even like preach to have all the answers by any means, and that's my own feeling of what I believe it is. Because again, I do believe in an omnipotent, all-loving God, and to believe in an all-loving God that in which we were made in the image, it would make sense that it would line up with most people's moralities. You know what I'm saying? Like we all would agree, killing is not good. We all would agree, raping is not good. So anything that would say otherwise, we would question. Like, I don't think this was meant to be there. Not that I'm saying that
Yeah.
that is, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's again under the assumption we were made in God's image and that He is all loving. But as I said, game of telephone is what I believe in. That the real meaning was lost, and we have the multi-generational translation in front of us. And even look at that. Look at how many English translations there are of the Bible. You know, there's like, if you Google variations of the Bible, there's tons. And those are going to be different for each religion. Like, you know, I can't remember all the names, but you understand what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
the individual sentences will be different, and therefore the meaning would be different based on how you interpret those sentences.
Like, what's your background? What is it? Greek Orthodox?
Yeah.
Which and technically there wasn't like Christmas, right? But you still did Christmas and stuff like that.
No, there.
I
there
thought
was.
I thought growing up, or maybe you just did it the day before, right?
Well, we actually for holidays we actually went to the other church visitation
Okay,
with the other
side
other
of the family.
yeah.
Okay,
So I have no. I know they did like everything over there too. We just never went for holidays there.
okay.
But that was a horrible experience in that church because they did the Greek version of everything and then the English version of everything.
So
like,
it was twice.
wait, you guys had like an hour mass, right?
Yeah.
This was like a 4-hour mass.
Oh my
for
gosh.
everything, so they did
So
it
you
both
can kind
ways.
of understand why I don't really like church
Yeah.
to begin with, but
That's
yeah, I don't know.
that's another thing too. Like going to church doesn't make you a good Catholic on its own.
Yeah.
You know, praying on your own doesn't make you a good Catholic on your own. Like you should be doing things if you're claiming to be,
Or
you know,
just you don't even have to do any of that, just be a good person.
that's what I was about to say. Like doing things that makes you a good person. Like who cares if you give $100 to the church if you're going to scoff at the homeless guy right
Yeah.
outside?
Yeah,
You're basically a dick to me at that point anyway.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I would rather someone who's a good person and a-religious than a bunch of Catholics that are just fake.
yeah. And the reason I consider
They're
myself a
two-faced.
good person because I said I believe in karma.
Yep.
So if I'm gonna put good out there, I'd like to expect and hope that good comes back. But
And I've always
Well,
said that too. Like if there is a God and He created us to live like this life, it's like, do you really think He'd want you there every day for a couple hours? Like, just fucking live your life. You know what I mean?
yeah, he would want
I'm not saying anything against
No, yeah, I understand.
you know what
doing
I mean, but
that,
I'm
but-
just saying like,
free will.
yeah,
Free will.
Yeah.
And like even that, like you said the karma system, like I also have that jumbled into my conglomerate of what I believe in.
Beliefs.
But I also, you know, I try and do things as well. Like part of the problem is if there is an expectation, then like for instance, Catholics, Christians, et cetera, people of religion, a lot of people do good things with the expectation, like if I do this, I'll get to heaven, I'll get to paradise, I'll get to XYZ. And it's the same thing with the karma. I do good things, I expect good things. But wouldn't it be an amazing world if all of us just did good things? Like, all right, you know, I might never see Mike again. Nothing might ever happen.
Hey, why is that?
Arbitrarily, this is arbitrary. But like maybe Mike was like, hey man, like I need $2.20 for gas. Like my car's done. I give him $2.20. I move on. I never see Mike again. I never get anything for that $2.20. It shouldn't matter. Like you just do it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah,
You don't do it for reward.
That's where the whole karma thing is interesting because I feel like if that side of thinking, like if you expect, like you should never expect
Exactly.
for something good
Yeah.
to come back because you're just
But
gonna end up
everyone
being
does.
disappointed more than half the time.
Well, I don't.
Religious people, karmic
and I
people,
don't- I don't
a-religious
really, like,
people.
tend to believe in like the actual like idea of the karma, but
Yeah,
it's
neither
just,
do
it's
I.
just the simplified fact where like if you do bad things are gonna happen to you. Like if you're constantly fucking selling drugs,
Well, yeah,
to
that's
kids
just a
and
Yeah,
controlling,
yeah.
yeah, you're just gonna your life's gonna turn
Yeah.
to shit.
That
but
just is what it
if
is.
you're constantly putting out
exactly.
good shit, I mean,
Yeah, that's what mine's not an expectation, more so just this is the system I wish everyone followed
Yeah,
almost to like yeah. So I know I just believe like if everyone followed this system of karma and that we all only tried to put good out,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
only good would ever come back to everybody.
Yeah, because
But-
everyone's just a revolving door of good
Yeah,
but-
happiness, sprinkles, and
yeah.
That would be. I mean, that would be great, as I said. But there's always going to be people in whatever religion, even karma, that will feel slighted if they're not getting that same good. Like, how many people do you hear like, I deserve better. I deserve better than this because I'm a good person.
Why?
All this. Why?
yeah, that's
and that's the same thing with every group of
yeah,
people.
but there's a fine line also of like constantly doing good and then like getting like stepped on. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like just
I know what
letting
you're
people
saying.
walk all over you
yeah.
and then doing good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. No,
You
I
need to
I see what you're
want-
saying. Yeah.
You can't expect. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to
But you also
put
can't
work.
have people just constantly shit on you.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
ju-
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hey, do all this shit. Oh,
Yes.
all
Yes.
right. Like,
Oh,
No,
I
of
wish something
course.
would happen.
yeah.
I do good now. Like
No, it doesn't work like that. Again, but that's also part of the expectation. Like they're
Yeah.
expecting I'm doing these
Yeah.
good things. I should be getting stuff in return. You live a much happier life if you do things without the expectation.
Yeah, well, there comes a point where you need to realize that there's probably some people out there that feel like they have like no control, where
Yeah.
they're just sort of out there, and everything that happens, there's a meaning behind everything they're
Yeah.
doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas like
Our destiny.
Destiny too.
or death,
Yeah.
destiny.
Yeah.
When people like you need to people need to come to the realization that like you have the ability to dictate where
Change and-
you're
yeah.
going.
You can do whatever you want. You could be a terrible piece of human refuse, or you can be the kindest person ever.
Yeah.
It's all you. It always has been. It always will be. Regardless of what you believe the future will be.
Now, there was one more point I wanted to bring up just because it's been fresh in my head, and I forgot my other point, so hopefully it comes back to me. But I was at my brother's community college graduation yesterday, and I'm still confused. Did you just flip me the bird incidentally? Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
That's fine. And I was at his community college graduation. And first off, graduations fucking suck, and that could be a whole nother conversation. 'Cause
Yes.
I fucking despise
Yeah, they
them.
do.
Yeah.
But I was there, and there was so many people. And in the beginning of it, a priest goes up there to do a prayer. And I was standing there. I was like, well, why are we doing this? Why is this here? I understand some people that's important for them.
Mm-hmm.
But other people, if they have really strong beliefs against that, why
Yeah.
are you going to impose on their graduation? Why do we have to do it at all? And then I started to have like a big problem with that because I don't understand why we have to force religion into some situations when you don't know if that's everyone's belief, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do a prayer at the
No,
graduation.
Yeah, like
I
a
completely
Catholic
agree with
university
Yeah,
or
I know
Catholic
what you're saying.
University,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Gives a
But
crap.
why are we at a public community
university,
college, not a private school, not anything, doing a prayer?
Yeah.
So
understand what
why
you're
do we
saying.
have to force religion into some things?
That's because we don't have full separation of church and state.
But how,
And that's
how
its
is
own
that?
problem.
Yeah, how is that still a thing?
Because that's who's in control. Like we literally have I'm not going to get super political, but we literally have the party that wants no separation of church and state more so than the other. Not no, but wants less. You know what I mean? Like there are people that are like, keep God in schools. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that is overwhelmingly Republican, and that's who we overwhelmingly have in office. So as long as that's the case, we're going to continue to see that. I mean, all in all, we're seeing less, like people now can sit for the pledge, and it's not as like crazy as it would have been
Yeah.
like 20, 30 years
Like
ago.
I barely ever saw that.
I think I saw one person,
I
yeah,
never
there was
did.
maybe
Never
one
saw
person
that.
whoever saw.
but now like it's
all
getting
for
more
school.
common, and that's because people are saying like, yeah, like this does say under God, and I'm not accepting that. And for better or worse, there should be separation of church and state. And I even as a religious person, because like if we didn't have separation of church and state, like what if Islam was the main religion? Like imagine how many people's heads would explode
Yeah,
right now if like Islam became the overwhelming
majority.
religion
Yeah.
in America, and then they'd be like, oh no, we'd want separation of church and state. But because theirs is in charge,
Yeah.
why would they
Did you-
want the separation?
Did you mean head explode by like suicide bombers or?
nonetheless. See, like there's like that ties into the point. Like there's no, I haven't said anything bad about any other group, you know. And you made the pedophile joke earlier. You made the head exploding from Islam joke. I know it's jokes,
It's low hanging fruit. It's easy.
but
well,
but it does
it's also
perpetuate.
true, though.
Why is it true? There's extremisms. There's extremists everywhere. That's the
Yeah, I
point
know,
I'm
but
making. Like there's
I'm saying they're real people. It's true. It happens.
yes, it happens, and it happens in every group of people. That's what I'm saying. So like I can make a joke about any group of people if I wanted to, but that doesn't help correct the problem or help address the actual underlying roots of the problem and whatnot.
So there's some other. So I think we're gonna end the talk time
Yeah.
here because my do you know kind of also ties into this
Sure,
a little
sure.
bit, and I have some other points that I'm gonna make there.
I wish I had some like more
Coffee.
More.
crazy like, well, yeah, more coffee, but more like interesting views on all this. I mean, I feel like I didn't add anything. I don't.
mean, not
I don't
every
know.
topic.
'Cause
You were the
I'm in a-
median.
Yeah.
Because
Median.
I'm going to say right now where I don't know where I stand with any of that.
And
and that's fine.
yeah.
Exactly. As long as it's always you. As long as no one's saying like
Influencing.
join
making
my
it.
cult right now.
I
You
am
know?
me.
Isn't that nuts for a second before we ended that? Like, what was the guy's name who made everyone drink the punch? How powerful? How powerful? The crazy thing being
Yeah.
how powerful I think faith is.
Yeah.
Where all these people believed in what this guy said. I mean, even for just a second, that however Hitler motivated millions of people to do what he did
Yeah.
on faith of building a better system
Not
in
just
the world.
not just
Well, I
faith.
mean, yeah, but
You
those
had-
people were beyond desperate.
That's what I mean,
The
exactly.
economy was shit. Everybody
Well,
was
that's what I'm saying. They
starving.
needed. Well, I'm saying the power of
Desperation breeds
hope,
extremism.
hope, desperation, and faith. It's like it's
Well,
a
that's
powerful.
everything that we see right now too.
Yeah, desperation breeds that extremism.
It's powerful.
If you're not being fed, you're not being clothed, and a group of religion says, "Hey,
we
we'll
got
feed you,
it.
but you fight for us."
I mean, even as simple
You
as
take
just
it.
like small gangs in cities and stuff. That's how that starts.
Yep,
too.
yep.
Just poor kids that
Yep.
don't have anything going for them.
exactly.
That's a shame.
But that's how it works
It's a-
everywhere.
It's a scary, scary world.
Yeah.
For maybe our most serious talk time yet. We'll be back with
Agreed.
a little separation from this topic in our Would You Rather
Yay.
right now. Time for Would You Rather this week on the Foreplay Podcast.
Yay.
A little uplifting. Not that it was downlifting, but it was
No.
a serious conversation.
Downlifting.
I know.
Yeah, that's
I,
a word.
I know. I commandered downlifting. I know. I commandeered
How
a
do
lot
you
of
lift
that.
something down?
That's the joke. Yeah.
That wasn't a joke. That was just me talking.
Uh,
Would you rather live 1,000-year life or 10 100-year lives?
Jeez.
It's tough.
I have a question about the stipulations.
Okay, go ahead. You don't remember anything from your 10 lives.
So, like live number 2, I don't remember.
No,
the live
absolutely
live
not.
number 1. Is it sequential? Like, for instance, I die and then I'm
He's
reborn in my
sequential.
second life immediately.
I think that's
third.
undetermined.
Okay. 1,000. Do I get
Do
to?
you get
Do I
to-
get to?
Do you get
Sorry.
to,
Were you gonna say? Do you get to choose when?
Choose gender.
we're going to say that this starts tomorrow.
This starts tomorrow. I'm born. I go back to birth
Tomorrow. Yeah.
1,000 year life.
So wait, in 1,000-year life. So does that mean you aged a fraction,
Like, do you
It
age
is-
speed of a normal
Am I
human?
gonna be?
10
or do you
years,
age-
100 years?
or do you age to 30 and then never age?
No,
again?
it's
Scaled.
It's scaled.
It's proportional. It's
Yeah.
like when you're 900, you're 90.
Yeah.
So you're basically like Wolverine.
Yeah.
Jesus. So you just live a slow
like a
ass fucking
vampire.
life. So you're literally an infant for like 100 years, for 10 years.
Yeah, it sounds pretty beat.
Yeah.
How does that work? You're gonna die. Nobody's gonna take care of you.
In theory, if it
In
works.
theory,
You're sucking
yeah.
a teat for 10 years.
It doesn't sound like a bad life to me. You know what I'm saying?
True.
It's your mom's tit.
No,
Oh,
Enough, hold
God. Yeah.
Did you hear that?
What?
Enough, hold the fluff.
There you go.
Oh my god.
I don't know why I just thought of that.
The 1,000 years is just.
I don't know. I'd really like if you could like pick an age for your 1,000 years to just stay at.
Yeah. Because being old and like, what if I get arthritis at year 700? Now I've got freaking 300 years of not being able to use my hands. That's fucked.
Yeah, but you
No
you
way.
just-
like this.
for hundreds of years.
Like, yeah. If
You
I'm
have to be. Holy
But
shit.
imagine what you would see in the lifetime
if-
of 1,000-year life.
Yeah, but what if you get hit by a fucking car like at the age of 5?
Yeah,
You're like
and
a
I'm paralyzed
paraplegic.
for 995 years, and I don't get.
Well,
to-
I mean, I don't think anyone would live that to be dour. I think you would
Yeah.
probably end up ending yourself.
but that's what I mean.
Nah,
At least
no, you'd have a lot of time for knowledge. You could be the next Stephen Hawking.
this is true.
That's what I'm saying. You could really. You want to talk about a primes being in your prime? Those 20s and 30s for 200-300 years in there.
That'd be
You
high.
want to talk about your prime
Well, I'd already be revered
Yeah,
as a
I
god.
would have every venereal disease.
ever?
Oh my God.
I think I'm going with 1,000
I don't know.
because one, you would also you could use it for good, but
Of
you could
course,
also, you'd
yeah,
also
yeah.
be a freak
It's true as well.
once they found out your dirty little secret.
Oh yeah. What if they just caged you up to see like let's see how long he lives.
But actually, now I was thinking about this is the tough part again. It's always like in the movies where it's like you got to watch all your loved ones die, right?
Yep.
But this is the weird thing. It's like you're like a real. I almost feel like you don't have a family. I think you're in this scenario. You're
You're
just
just a
born.
drifter.
You're just born because you
But what
can't
if you fall in love?
because your parents would be dead before you were 10 years old.
Yeah, pretty
not
much
even.
actually.
So they really wouldn't even mean like that
Well, you could be Batman then.
much. Oh yeah. I mean, you could be Batman right now, but you just don't have the means. He was just a rich man.
Yeah, but my parents aren't dead, so
That's true.
There's no motivation.
No motivation. You can't just want to be Batman. You have to have dead parents.
Yeah, that too. Like that's emotionally taxing.
Exactly.
Not being or like maybe you fall in love at year 300.
And this is almost a problem because we didn't talk about it in religious beliefs, but I do believe in reincarnation. So isn't my 100-year lives already happening for me?
Could be.
I guess the only thing different now is I just live life normal or
The
I
only
mean,
thing-
if I-
the only-
if I
the
can't-
only thing with most people with the 10, 100-year lives, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Is that like they'll just procrastinate and be like, "Oh, I got 9
Yeah,
more
yeah.
of these. I can just fuck this one up." If you slip up, you're just like,
That's
"Ah, shit."
true. Yeah.
well, I mean, imagine the 1,000-year life.
That's what I mean.
That's
you screw
more
up, you have
intense
to.
though, because now it's just
You're stuck.
eternity. You're just fucking.
Paraplegic at age 52. You got 948
Hey,
years to
I
go.
like to believe that in 900 years we have that fixed.
Think about how much happened in the
I
world
would love
from
that as well.
whatever 1,000 was to 2,000.
Think about 10 years ago,
Yeah,
iPhone.
that's
came
why
out.
we've hit the exponential part of that curve.
That's true.
Which is freaking awesome because we'll get to see a lot of changes.
We're going to be in the prime of it.
We're in the
I
prime
do
of it.
feel this is a whole nother conversation for another day. I feel like we were born at the perfect age. I feel like every generation says that, but we know life before cell phones and going outside, and we know life in it and after.
We also have a chance to be living in 3 different centuries,
that too.
which is pretty cool.
I would say
Whoa.
I mean, we're gonna have to be pretty old,
Yeah.
but
let me
I'm no shot at that. But
let me
you maybe.
start in 30 years. I think that's the golden age till we get nuked. Because in 100 years from 30 years, we will be plugged into games. 100%.
Are you saying 100 years from 30 years? Where what?
I'm saying
What was that?
Let-
Am I the only one puzzled?
let
by
my
this?
birthday be October 29th, 2043. And let me live from there.
That's what you're saying is the
Isn't
perfect
October
time.
That's gonna be
29th
perfect.
What they plug in the Fast and
We're gonna
Back
be
to the Future.
we're gonna be living the
October
Matrix.
29th.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Like we'll be at the Matrix 100 years from
We're all gonna have
that
our
year.
own little pods.
No, Back to the Future is
Just
like way.
like-
like
Yeah.
Back to the Future's future date already passed.
No,
Yeah.
didn't they type in October 29th though? Wasn't that the month and
It-
day?
It could have.
It
been.
was October, but I'm not sure.
I don't know what
the
day.
was.
Might have been 15th.
Maybe 11.
It was a few years ago though.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna pick the 1,000. You want to talk about a prime?
You got a good.
And because this is honestly my scariest part of death is that I want to know what happens,
Yeah,
and it feels like
there's
this
a
is
chance.
this is my one chance at ever getting
You can
that
see the sun explode
exploding.
Yeah.
Might very well.
into a whatever the hell it is.
Because unfortunately, as our track right now,
Supernova.
our great grandchildren, we're not setting it up great for them.
No, no.
Wait,
Not
even-
at all.
Even since our star is a lot closer, is it true that we wouldn't even actually see it explode?
Well, no,
Wouldn't it
we'd be
explode and
because
then-
it hits a point of what is it, the red giant phase
I don't
that
know
it
the
hits,
order
and
of
when
it.
it hits that phase, we'd be eaten up.
We'd just
already
be
by that point.
incinerated.
Okay.
We're not
Before
gonna,
it even blows up.
not gonna hit that
Yeah.
point. We're
But
blowing
no, I was just
ourselves up
thinking of
long
the whole
before
thing where
that.
people say like the stars that you see, they're already gone. That's still just the
Yeah.
traveling
Oh,
light
yeah,
is
All the
still
stars that you
reaching
see
us.
in the sky are dead.
yeah,
White
supposedly
white dwarfs.
some shit like that. Yeah.
White dwarfs. I
don't know enough about stars.
want to talk about space again. I fucking love
Dude,
space.
side note, I love when like Neil deGrasse Tyson compares
Love that, man.
something that happens in space to normal everyday life and how extreme everything is out
Yeah.
there. It's
Yeah.
so fascinating to see how those comparisons. I don't really have anything specific.
In a different
Looking
life,
forward to something.
in a different life, I was an astrologist, but I'm picking 1,000. Mike.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you.
Oh, okay. Nick's picking 1000s.
I'm gonna pick 1000s because one, I wouldn't want to be alive without the people I love. Like I know you're saying no family, but I'm pretty sure I would fall in love at some point.
No, I'm just saying you weren't
that
born
does-
into a family. Like,
yeah,
obviously you make
I'll make my own
Yeah.
family. But that's the thing. Once they're gone, what am I gonna do? Just recycle families?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be happy
have
with that,
to.
you know. But I wouldn't be happy with that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I would miss every person
that's
that
fair.
I cared for that
that's-
deeply.
I don't know. That's why it doesn't make sense to me though.
What do you mean?
Because with the 1,000 life, because it's like, all
Scaled.
right, say you meet somebody, you fall in love, you have kids. Like your kids are gonna age way rapidly than you, and
I
everyone's
know.
like,
They're gonna-
all right, what the fuck's going on here?
Well, not only I don't even care what other people think. Like at the end of the day, you're already a demigod because someone's gonna notice your life for 1,000 years.
Yeah. I thought it was saying
Someone's
that's
gonna
what-
notice that
Someone's
you know,
gonna find
that
a
you were-
picture
a
of me.
13-year-old boy.
You were in every war for the last 800
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
Well, you're not fucking Superman. Like you could die in
But
all those wars.
You could be like, you know, something that doesn't go overseas and stay in the military forever.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're
Very-
rolling the dice.
Yeah. So I don't want to do that. I'd rather 10 meaningful and like who knows?
You're saying meaningful, but
yeah,
you wake up.
You're right. I have a very good chance of being poor or being
Because you're thinking
in-
of these 10 lives as how you're living your life now. 10
exactly. And they
times
very
over.
well could be different. You're 100%. But I'm also thinking 1,000 years from tomorrow, that's concrete. You've said that the 10 years, 10 different lives aren't back to back to back. So maybe I
Not
get to
necessarily.
experience, not necessarily.
1,000
Yeah.
years.
So maybe I get
Also
to
not
experience.
necessarily living to 100.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Could you imagine?
Well, then why would, what's the,
3017?
I thought it was
but
10
I'm just
100.
saying, but we could also get killed like fucking at year 5 of the 1,000.
That's true. Well, then, yeah, then I'd
You know
rather
what I
have
mean?
10 shots,
Yeah.
you know, then, because if you're wiped out
Yeah.
at year 10 there,
But
that
if
was
you're
your only
not,
one. Yeah, exactly. But if I am at age whatever on one life or even 2 lives,
Right,
like-
there's a much better chance of surviving.
Yes.
with the
or,
10 lives.
or,
Getting that
or
full-
thriving.
getting that full
Just
1,000
think about
years,
getting.
quote,
Just
unquote.
think about getting through the first fucking 10 years of your life till you're 1, and your fucking mom is like, "Why is my infant not fucking
Yeah,
growing?
but you
Why
were
is
going
this-"
to be the smartest fucking teenager. The
Oh,
world
God,
has ever
Hopefully,
seen.
hopefully,
Yes, yeah. You're rolling the dice.
You're
Who
rolling the
knows
dice.
what you're
Well,
born
what do
with.
you mean?
or like maybe you just waste the time anyway. You're like, you know what, sleep sounds. pretty
Eventually,
good."
you would become smart if you
I
wanted
drooled
to.
on myself.
if you wanted
for
to,
100
yeah, if
years.
you wanted to. Who knows?
Dude, you don't know what
You don't know.
you're waking
You
up
might
with.
again. You might procrastinate it all. You're like, oh, I got tons of years. I'm golden. You never know.
a decade as a fucking drooling
Fuck.
infant.
You might wake up as
Shitting
the
all over
next
myself.
Bobby Flay. You don't know.
Yeah.
Kevin, what would you
So
pick?
I could. I'm not even gonna go there.
I think I'm leaning towards
What?
10, 100-year lives because the big thing with that is there's no recollection between
Each one.
all of them.
Yeah.
Whereas 1,000 years is just like I feel like the mind can only handle. Imagine containing 1,000.
Yeah,
like,
that.
800 years worth of information. You're not
That's
going to
what
be able
I'm
to
saying.
retain
You'd
it
be
all
the
anyway.
wisest old man ever.
Well, I'm not really thinking of it as 1,000. I'm almost thinking of it more as like 500-600 maybe, because I don't know if I'd want to live anymore after
Yeah.
that, you know. But still, 500-600 years, 10
It's
years
cool.
ago.
It's cool to think about.
I just keep thinking of Wolverine, and that's I don't know.
I feel like
badass.
I feel like the table was set up right because I feel like me and you agree on a lot of these would you rather's versus that
I'd
side
have-
of the fucking table.
I'd have 10 shots to become The Rock.
I'll take those odds.
Those are good odds.
And on Dwayne the Rock Johnson, we'll come back with a do you know question. Mike, do you know why people are evil? Why does evil exist? This is the question I pose to our group. Now, you can either answer my question or I'll reveal some statistical information first.
Lemons.
Would you like to say something before I reveal statistical information?
No, you
Like
can
kind of
reveal
prime this.
Sure.
So, obviously, right now there's a lot of bad in the world going on. at this very moment. So I looked up the About Us for who started this, and it's kind of like a community that then gets second checked. But there's a world map on storymaps.esri.com, and I'm going to overlay the picture, the graphic. But basically, it's keeping track of all the terrorist attacks in 2017 and like putting like dots all over the map on where they happen and bigger if there's more casualties and all that. And as of right now, it's what's today's date? As of recording, June 21st.
Oh, it's 21st.
Yeah.
21st. Yeah, I've been writing the date all day.
Shit, I forgot.
As of right now, in 6 months, there's been 593 attacks and 4,001 casualties. Now, just so we're all on the same
How many?
page,
Yeah, what
4,000
defines
4,001.
4,000.
What defines a terrorist attack? That's
The
important.
definition of a terror attack is a surprise attack involving the calculated use of violence against civilians. The motive behind such an attack will most likely be religious or political in nature. It will be carried out using methods designed to intimidate and instill fear. In the U.S., the FBI defines terrorism as the unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. So that's kind of like a very specific example of obviously evil, the freshest one that we unfortunately are now waking up, and every other day we're seeing something going on. And it kind of stems a little bit, it doesn't stem from the religious conversation, but we were talking about like, why does evil exist? And I want to know, like, I just want to pose that question. Like, why do we think people are evil?
Well,
Do we know why people are evil?
there's no solidified answer to that.
Yeah.
You can't possibly understand you can't possibly understand everything I'm thinking. I can't possibly
Yeah.
understand everything you're thinking. But we both generally would think we're both good people, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Those people that are being evil, you have no idea how messed up they might be. Like they might be to the point where we would classify them as having some sort of psychological issue. And maybe they're not evil. Maybe what they're doing we would classify as evil, but maybe in their heads they don't even realize they're being evil. Maybe their mind is just so twisted and dark on its own that they're acting just in a normal state of mind. You know, and you have to take a step back, and if you view morality as something that's intention-based more so than as action-based, then that opens a huge can of worms with what exactly is evil or not evil. Because again, how can we say on its own that all those terrorist attacks are evil on their own? Of course, we're going to be like, wow, it sucks. That's terrible. Most likely evil motives behind it. But if someone's at that point where they're going to do something that bad, are they really fully there in the head anyway? Like, are they really truly evil, or is their mind so warped in itself that they're acting evilly within their own mind? If that makes sense. If I'm making sense with what I'm saying here.
And it again goes back to, I know I've said it on the show before, the Joe Rogan tweet where in this country we have a mental health problem disguised as a gun control problem. And it's so true because
We don't address
it's only
mental
been the
health at
past
all.
few
Well,
years where people are actually, like, we're actually talking about
Yeah.
the fact that mental health. Why did we grow up, and I think we've said this on the show, so we won't go too much into it. Like, why did we grow up not knowing what that was?
Exactly.
And why was it looked down upon for so
That's
many
the
years
big
from
thing,
so
too.
many
It's-
families?
It's looked down upon rather than being treated like a
Fix
physical
yourself.
illness.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what helps perpetuate that idea.
And for me, it just
It's also
no good.
it's also that like those or that kid in the school is always just the outcast and just constantly picked on and bullied. So then that obviously
Makes
Warps
it
your
worse.
mind as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. But even like the guy, the Virginia shooter recently who shot the Republican baseball practice.
Something like
Game.
that. Yeah.
That loon.
Yeah. That guy, fucking all of his friends said he was cool, normal guy,
Exactly.
just had strong
Yeah.
political views. And how do you get to the point where you carry that out? Like,
Yeah.
what is there something like deep within all of us? Is it a higher power that's evil? Is it like what? Like, I don't understand how people. It's so hard from us with, like to say, we all have normal thoughts for the most part. I don't want to know what Nick thinks, but
That's fine.
like, how do you get to that point? Like,
That's as
that's
I
where it's
said.
like, how does evil? Why does it exist?
Why does it exist?
I think some people are just like, for lack of a better term, just like so socially like just like fucked in the head
Yeah.
that they don't even know how to cope anymore. So they just do something that just to like express themselves almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Statement.
yeah, like they just don't know how to like act in the world anymore normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's to kind of piggyback off that. The reason I wanted to talk about this too is just I wanted to have a conversation.
Nice one.
Oh man.
Party foul. For podcast listeners, Brandon spilled his beer all over the table.
No, come on, this is abstract art. We got to see what it makes.
It's the United States
It-
mirrored.
oh my gosh, it is pretty
It's
much.
the United States
Look at that,
mirrored
it's
across
Florida.
the
It's
y-axis.
the Northeast. Oh, that's not bad. I mean, we're missing a little bit of Texas there.
It's mirrored
I was
across the
saying,
y-axis.
I was saying this was the Northeast.
There we go. I made Texas.
Now that panhandle is clearly Florida. We're looking at
Florida, East Coast, Northeast.
Yeah.
Pseudo Texas that I
you were
was
to
trying
hold
to
the map
create.
upside down at the light. That's what you're looking
Yeah. there we go.
So maybe I'll time us back in. Maybe I'll make a cut for what just happened, or I'll just leave it in. But Brandon spilled his beer and
Yep.
right in the middle of the bottle.
Way to go.
That's fine.
That was evil.
I'll wash it later. Well, what I was going to say is I wanted to have a conversation about this topic because it really bothered the other night too. Where did anyone see the case of the girl who got sentenced for the text of encouraging? She got sentenced for charges of manslaughter
Involuntary manslaughter.
for the kid who committed suicide in Florida.
No, at least I just saw like
Heard
the
of that.
repost today.
The
but I'm
headlines,
guessing
the
that's
free
why
post.
it got reposted.
They posted all of the text messages that were sent between them, and I must have read like 100 messages or something. I read them all last night, and the fact that this girl must have said 50 times, "Why aren't you doing
Yeah,
it?"
no, it almost the first
How-
time because those were actually released like a while ago.
A few
the
of them.
first time I read it, it almost like turned my stomach a
It
little
ate
bit.
me inside last night that this
Yeah.
girl had said. She said it. I'm not kidding you. Like 50 times. Why aren't you doing it? Every text message was about getting this kid to commit suicide.
Like he was basically trying to like
He was
talk
crying out
about
for help.
something. He was basically just trying to talk about anything else, and she just kept like
But
going
why-
back to like,
when are you going to do it? You said you were
Yeah.
going to do it. Like you said you wanted this. How do you? How is this? How is this something we're actually talking about? Like
As I said, it's the individual had to have had such a warped mind, such a twisted mind that they were able to want that out of
construct those
someone.
ideas.
Yeah.
supposedly. I don't even know if this is true because I didn't even actually watch anything on it. I'm just going off of like pictures and posts on the internet and stuff. But
Which everyone does for
well,
everything.
the internet's always true too, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Abe
But
Lincoln,
supposedly they're
2016.
trying to like blame it on like her defense. She's trying to blame it on like her antidepressants that she was on and shit. But that's everybody's fallback now because
How old are these people?
Yeah.
They were teenagers. They was like younger than us.
Why?
they were in high school. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, he was a high school kid.
I don't know.
But it's also the fact that every person now in America that does something
Can
just
claim
tries to go to
And-
mental illness because
Yep.
they know it works.
And that's the bigger problem is that the people who are actually suffering now this gets clouded where
Yep.
even all these murder cases they the number one claim, I forget exactly what it's called, but they claim
Insanity.
Insanity.
Yep.
The insanity plea.
Well-
So their sentence gets reduced because this person, it was out of their control for why they were doing what they did. And how do we enable excuses like that?
Even
Like-
isn't the dude that shot up the movie theater, like wasn't he like completely normal, and then when he was in the courtroom, like he was just completely fucking out of it, like acting like he was like out of his fucking mind.
I've seen stuff
Wouldn't
on
doubt
that.
it.
Is that
yeah.
the dude like after the Dark Knight?
Yeah,
or
the
Yeah,
Dark
he
Knight
dressed up as
shooting.
the Joker and shit.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't
I
fucking
think
know.
he was like completely normal.
Mhm.
But then once like he had his hearing and he was in the courtroom and stuff,
just started
he
freaking
was
out,
like
yeah.
just talking nonsense, not
Yeah.
making any sense. It's just
I just have such a problem with it because we, like the mental illness thing, it's so overshadowed, and again, people fucking take advantage of everything, and
Yeah.
all the people
Yeah.
that take advantage of everything, I consider
Fuck it
you
for
fucking
everyone.
evil
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because you're taking away from someone else. This is the part about graduations I wanted to talk about, and you know, I forget how whenever the fuck I was talking about graduations, but we were at my sister's graduation yesterday, and the part I can't stand is where everyone in this world is just about themselves, where they ask you don't applaud for when your kid gets up.
Yeah, you wait till the end. Yeah.
And these people, they have like 15 of their family members sounding off air horns and shit,
Yeah.
and they take they're so loud that they stop the next name from being heard. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I was sitting there. I was just boiling. I was like shaking my head. I was literally about to start yelling, "Shut the fuck up!"
Yeah, they don't
Because
think
you're
about
taking
the
all
next-
you-
It's very
they
selfish.
take the
Yes.
moment away
Yep.
from the next kid.
from the next kid. And
Yep.
someone yelled right before Sabrina's name too, but they stopped like the second before hers
Thank
got
God,
read.
because you would have fucking.
I
would
would've
have
lost my mind.
Yeah.
And it's- why is
Like, you
every-
wanna
running
shut up
after.
the place?
Yeah, no. But I look at this shit as fucking evil too, because it's like, why are we all so fucking selfish in this world?
yeah.
And
Because that's my kid.
It all
Yeah.
it all goes back to the
Yeah.
intention, as I was saying. Like
Yeah.
it's not the action you do; it's why are you doing it.
I was talking to segue into our last part of the conversation here. I was talking with a coworker, and is it that, and I don't have the statistics and I'd love to know, but is it that these problems have always happened, that there's always been this many issues, or is it just because we're such in a fucking socially connected world now that anytime something like a terrorist attack used to have to find out in the paper the next morning, that we find out instantly,
Yeah.
and instantly there's millions of people putting their thoughts and ideas out there on that subject, that it gets polarized and put on such a fucking
Yeah, it's
like pedestal.
I mean,
that-
Well, it's definitely it's a different case nowadays than it was. There's
always
always
happened.
been terror in the world.
You got to keep
Yeah,
in
of
mind,
course.
70 years ago, we were hanging black people.
yeah,
casually.
of course.
I
You
also,
know,
I
that
don't know.
existed in our
I'm just saying,
nation.
like the outrage culture now of
I
Yeah.
think there's a lot more terror attacks now, but stuff like police shootings, I think, always happen to the amount that they do have, like, happen today. But we just didn't hear about them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think stuff like that. But I think there's definitely way more, like,
There's more exposure everywhere,
Yeah.
Everything.
more coverage everywhere, because it's so easy. I can record something and post it to the world. We don't just
High
need news
definition.
anchors. High
which,
definition.
which also in turn like could almost sort of fuel this type of stuff, because a lot of times you almost see these people doing these things to get that
exactly.
one major
infamy.
headline.
There was that
it's
one guy who-
terrorism for a reason. 'Cause
And
they
now-
want to create terror
Yeah.
amongst people.
And
Yeah.
now
People
you're
are gonna
telling them.
spread it.
Now
Yeah.
you're telling them that they're going to be all over fucking. Instead of just being a
Exactly.
headline on CNN,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
like
Yep.
they were back whenever, you're going to be all over fucking Twitter.
Everywhere
You're
in
gonna
a
have-
second. The
In a
second you
second.
do it,
You're going to have everyone calling you a scumbag and everything, but you're going to be.
But you're getting that
your
attention
name's
you
gonna be
want.
there.
You're putting that fear
we're
out
doing
there.
that. We're giving ideas. We're doing all
Yep.
sorts of horrible shit.
Or like there was that one guy who live streamed himself killing some guy.
Yeah, I saw
Facebook.
that.
Yeah.
I watched
Crazy.
that, and that was
That's what I
fucking
mean.
horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fucking get it.
It's nuts. And those
And-
people that do it are twisted in the head. Like they really are
Yeah.
at such an incomprehensible level that evil is nothing. It's abstracted, And again, to go back to the philosophical roots of that, it's hard to say conclusively whether it's evil or not based on the action. More so, why are they doing it? Where's their mind at where they're doing it? So yeah, intentions
matter.
Words
and
mean nothing. Actions mean a little bit more, but still not much. And intentions mean everything.
I like the end of that. There's no answer for my do you know question. I just wanted to vent a little bit, but I also wanted to talk about some of the fucked up problems right now in our world. And I
Hard
think
to make sense of any of it.
it's impossible. No one
It's
can.
also the fact that if you mix mental illness with certain kinds of drugs, then that just
Recipe
a whole
yeah,
nother
Yeah.
for disaster. And accessibility to
Yeah.
weaponry, which was the case in the Sandy Hook shooting, where this kid had access to all sorts of different guns. So where some of it, also goes back on parenting and all that,
Yeah,
and the
that's
environment
common.
that you're growing
Yeah.
up with.
Like,
A lot of it is your environment.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna do a future topic on internet. Is it good or bad? Because we talked about the bad today, but there's some good in it too. But we'll save that for a future topic. This was episode.
GoFundMe.
We don't
We
have
don't
one
have
of those.
I know.
But you can hit the subscribe button for us. That would be greatly beneficial. We're at
Smash it.
67, 68 as of recording. This is episode 32. We do want you to check out the descriptions of this video, like our various and follow our various social media pages. We want to bump all of our numbers up, continue to grow, have some fun. Hopefully the camera looks a lot better. Me and Mike played with some settings earlier, so hopefully the video looks better. Hopefully the audio sounds better. We're getting there.
Now
Learning.
you can actually see that Brandon's balding.
Fun fact, we had to turn off our studio lighting so that I didn't look like I had a bald melon, even though I still kind of do in the video. But that's okay. This was Foreplay. We're out. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching or listening.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/4playvideo.
If you like what we're doing, make sure to smash that like button.
Be sure to share all our videos with your friends so we could continue to grow. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.